Hello everyone, Randy Harrington here. This video I'm bringing to you here is about a homesteading area in the North Valley of the Talihina area. It's at the base of the mountains going up into the Kiamichis on Indian Highway. So you can easily get on the map, at least kind of see the area. This particular homestead is owned by Denny Coleman. Now, I've done an interview with Denny, and I've also done an interview with Denny and his land broker boss, who also has encounters that they explained in their interview. Both of them shared an encounter on Denny's property, or the property right behind Denny's property. That's why I was invited to spend the night there. So this is my trip there. You might do yourself a favor and go back and listen to Denny's story, as well as the story from him and his boss. And the reason is because you need to listen to all the details, because I'm just doing a follow-up here on the property, and we're going to go to some of the locations where some of the things that he explained in his interview are located. So you might want to do your homework and go listen to those interviews, just so that when you watch this video and we're talking about specific things and places, you will already have the backstory. And that just makes you better informed. And being better informed means that you can make the decision, is Denny telling the truth? I believe he is. I look at his demeanor. Me being a retired firefighter and working with 50 other men and rookies, and you get a good feeling of people, and in discussions and figuring out who they are, and the degree of honesty that you think you're getting from them. I feel like I'm getting all honest answers from Denny. So this is going to be me visiting his property and spending one night out there. And these are the things that happen. Let's start by getting you in the area. So you can go to your maps and look for Talihina. And if you were to go south from Talihina on 271, it takes a little jog on the old Indian Highway that takes you to Honubby. And at the base of the mountains is going to be a location there, and I circled it in red. It's a little bit right at the base of the mountain. It's the homestead is located in a extremely wooded area, and we will have some close-up pictures of the area as the stories unfold, so that you can get a better idea on location. But that's the general area. So it's just at the northern base of the Kiamichi Mountains, heading south. This map shows you where Denny's cabin is located on the property, so that when he's sitting here telling you when the side of the cabin is getting slapped, that this is where it's happening, at the bottom right-hand corner at the edge of his property. Later, we'll be talking about something happening around that pond, so pay attention.
Other things happen a lot. I can be sitting right here in this chair, and all of a sudden something slapped at the wall. It's slapping. And it's obvious it's a slap. And you run up, look out that window right there, and nothing's there, of course, and you go outside, but sometimes you kind of get that feeling, something's looking at you. When you step outside, now it's more lit up here than it's ever has been, ever. It used to, when you step outside, it's black all the way around.
So do you have lights that run all night long?
No, we got some motion sensor lights now.
Okay. So if I'm back there, it's not like there's going to be 24/7 lights on constantly, right? They're just motion sensors.
No, you'll be real dark back from there, and
I'm excited.
you may be able to see a light on at the house. It kind of goes down the hill towards the creek, and I'll show you that too. It's pretty cool. But that whole area back here behind us, back here, there's some rock formations. I'd like to hike back there with you and show you those rock formations. And you may decide that you do want to camp there, and if you do, that's fine with me. And nobody will say a word.
As long as I can get the vehicle in there.
You get the vehicle, yeah.
And that's going to be paramount to where I camp, to get my vehicle there. So
Yeah, you can get the vehicle all the way up there.
leave nothing. And basically, it's just monitoring.
That area right there, I think, man, that's definitely the spot.
So back in there is where you and Chuck had your.
Yeah, I'll show you where we saw. He saw the female, and I'll show you where I saw the 4 of them at the pond.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so
Hopefully
stoked.
we may find some tracks right down there at the pond.
I've got some hydrocal.
You do? Because we cast one track. Summer Sun, he found one track going to the ponds, and but I didn't have anything good. I had some floor patch, and I mixed it here. And by the time I got there,
by the time you got there,
it was about half dry before I got there.
Yeah, we all learned.
Yeah, and so I had to go do a recast on it, and the recast, I did it right, but it still
It was already messed up from the first cast.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I understand. We've messed up a lot of it.
But I've learned a lot about that now, and that plaster of Paris, that stuff's not cheap. I went and looked at it at Home Depot. It's not cheap at all.
And that's not even the best that you can use. I mean, that hydrocal is really, it dries much harder.
So I thought about maybe, I used to do flooring, and we used to use floor levelizer, and I thought that right there would be just fantastic to do because it sets wet and thin, but it dries fast. And I always thought about using that. And when you're done with it, it's just like concrete. And you can actually get it with a vinyl that's more rubbery too.
Well, why don't you spray the ground out there, put your own footprint, and test it. Try to pour some of that in there and see if it works.
Yeah.
Test it with your own, and then when you find out it works, you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
That's a nice place here.
We're proud of it, and we worked hard on it, and it's been just one little bit at a time.
Is that your dad?
That's my dad. Yeah, I see him up there on the painting up there too.
This is a good time to put in the part where you might want to go back and listen to the video of my interview with the Kiamichi Mountain realtor. That's Denny's story. And in that story, he talks about his father. This is the property that his father lived on when he had something break into the shed that they had in the back, and the investigator came out, the sheriff, and found the Bigfoot prints and told him it was a Bigfoot that broke into his shed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, summer stands over on.
Did he teach you how to play the guitar?
He showed me 2 chords. He said, "Here's a D and an A." He said, "Either you'll learn it or you won't." So I learned. Yeah. Yeah, but he was a fantastic guitar player and singer, and just all around, just a great person. And started building this place when he was 61 years old.
So after his initial, Bigfoot thing, where the people were coming around, and he was already tired of it.
Yeah. Oh, he run them off. Yeah, he told me, no, there ain't no Bigfoot on this property. And he did. He run them off. Even though they did find tracks. And of course, after I had my encounter at the pond down there, of course, he told me the same thing. He said, "Son," he said, "I don't want no bunch of Bigfoot hunters coming up here." I don't know where Daddy is going.
Here we are.
But it's not a bunch. But I've had a lot of people out here over the years, the last few years. I've had a lot of people just wanted to just come up.
Everybody wants to see one.
Hear something. Chuck, he brought his son, and a bunch of guys came down with him from Tulsa. And we actually went out.
Who was that from Tulsa?
His son from Tulsa.
Who was
Nate?
the other?
Nate, and it was some of his friends came down. It was Chuck's son, and they came down and hung out over the weekend. And we went back there, and it was so cold. we went back there and built a fire, sat around the campfire, and it was the funniest thing. There's a ridge over there, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden we see all these eyes looking around the trees at us. And I thought, oh, what's a deer? Because it was big little green eyes. And and it looked like they was doing their heads like this. And so we all get up, and of course you met Chuck. He's John Wayne all the way. He said, let's go see what that is. So we take off down through the thicket, and we're headed down in there to go see what it is. And right when we got at the edge of that ridge, all of a sudden everything just come into fruition. It was nothing but stars. And the trees were moving, and it looked like that there was something peeping around the trees. But that's just kind of like an example of a lot of times, you know, if you're really not trying to pay attention to what you're looking at, you could think it could be something else.
Yeah, a lot of people are guilty of that.
Yeah.
I see it all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, we had guns out and everything.
I thought you were going to tell me it was raccoons on the trees looking around the trees.
No, it was just stars.
Yeah.
It was just stars, and but it looked so real that there was something looking around the trees, because it was pitch black. And but the way that ridge was set up, those stars were sitting just perfect out there. And that's how high up we were. And now I'll show you that spot. It's pretty cool. But the rock formation is the one that you're gonna love the best. And there's another rock formation back there. I've never hiked to it, but that's where I believe, you know, that they really hang out. But when you go
Well,
up,
if I can, well, I should be able to throw my drone up.
the drone is going to be the key here. I had a drone. I used to fly my drone during the daytime. I never did fly it at night or anything. And we've had another drone out here, but we on the 4th of July, he does our fireworks show, and he'll drone footage in. But nothing has ever been up in the air out there like what you got.
Well, maybe, you know, depending on how far back I camp, if I can, you know, maybe after dark I can walk up here. We can just launch the drone from here and take a look back in there and see what's going on.
That'd be just fine.
Just so you guys can look at it.
Yeah. But it won't be more than 2 miles in, where everything you should have some action.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And you know, and my schedule is really flexible. So if this turns out to be the wildest place I've ever been to, I'll be reluctant to want to leave. I want to collect stuff every night.
Sure.
So I'm just going to leave it up in the air. First night's going to be a test. Second night, if things are happening, and if things are happening, I may choose a third night. Who knows?
Well, this is I've never, you know, like I said, I've never not went out there and not had some kind of experience in something like that.
And whatever I get, I will give you a copy. So that if there's a thermal video, you'll have a copy
I
of it.
would love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even if it's a big cat or a big bear, I'd like to see how close something's coming in here on this place. And I know we've had cats come in, because I had one on trail cam one time. And the bear, that track that was out there by the pool, if that's a bear, that's a big
What if he's
bear.
getting a drink out of the pool?
That's so. And I have found some hairs in it. You know, they weren't long hairs already. And but yeah. But whenever you get ready to go take a look, we'll go.
You want to wait till after your phone calls?
I got my phone.
Okay,
Ready.
okay. Well,
I'm ready.
I got to put my boots on.
I can I just go just like this. That's how I go. But yeah, all I have to do is hit the forward button on my. There. I got my pile over here. That's what was from that trailer. I'm gonna take all this wood here and these trusses here, and I'm gonna build me a shop down there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is kind of grown up now, but You can see the porch right there. The porch used to come in before we put the new roof and siding on. Of course, the pool wasn't there. But right there, I was standing right there. I was on the phone with Chuck. See this gate right here?
Yeah.
He came right across through that gate. I mean, right
Through that
across,
opening?
Just through that opening. All, like I said, all this here was not.
So that was the same night he had the two at the window, because
Yes, yes.
when y'all were talking, you said you saw one.
It was the same night. And he came right across and he was huge. And this is our little tank over here. It's not much. So I'll check it from time to time, see if it's got any tracks on it. Make it pinpoint, because whenever I did the video, I was back over here, and there was a stump. It's just not there no more. There was a stump back over here, and there was something on the other side of that stump, and it was black, had a head, and it was looking over the top of the stump, and it had its arm around it. And I said, man, that's got to be Bigfoot. And so I go back and look at it, and man, that's just wild. The thing's moving and it's looking. And so I go back there to it. Well, the stump's not about this big. So it had to be a really small one looking over the stump.
We are heading down to this pond where Denny had a visual on a family of 3 Bigfoot. And here he is describing it.
And I was coming down and I had my camera and I'm just walking down, just like we're doing right now.
Were you by yourself?
I was. So I get right over here. And as soon as I get there, I look up. And there's 4 of them over there.
This is the pond.
And
that's the one you got the pictures of?
Yep. And there's 4 of them. They're right there. I mean, as soon as I get right here, they're standing right there. And then they see me immediately. And they just kind of backed into the woods. Well, I got the camera. I headed over here. So I headed over there, and I grabbed the camera up, and I'm just shaking, and I'm just doing this, just panning. And I just pan back and forth. I didn't see nothing. And I go back, and I download it to my computer and started going through it frame by frame. And sure enough, I saw them in there. They didn't even go back in there too far. But I could not see them.
So you're saying I can come back here to camp?
You sure can.
Well, see, the way I've got my thermal camera, it can stick up out of the top of my tent on a stick, on a walking stick. So I can actually watch that side of the pond all night long. If I hear noises, I can look and see what's going on with my thermal camera in the dark. But I need to be able to set my tent in a position to where...
Spot right here on the other side of the pond. Do you want to be right on it, or do you want to be... I've got a spot right over here that's actually on my property, that's right up here next to the pond.
Well, I want to be able...
Would you rather be right
I need to, for my thermal camera, to watch what's going on the other side of the pond.
How about just this area right here?
Yeah. I mean, this looks promising to where I can, even right here in this cubby hole, have the tent right here, and I can have my thermal up here, sticking up out of my tent, and just scan it and watch what's going on over there. Because they're not going to creep in, and it's going to be stealthy.
Yeah.
If they know I'm camping here and they want to view from over there, I got to have a way to catch them. So a thermal camera about this high, peering over there into the darkness, that might be key.
I'd like to walk around this pond, look for some.
Yeah. Auburn one. You see the older gray one right beside her.
So this would be the general area where they were observing you, and then when they saw that you were observing them, they started the retreat.
They started retreating just as soon as they saw me over there.
Yeah,
I mean, just
so when you picked up your camera, they were already in the retreating mode. So you caught the pictures when they were further back in here.
Yeah, they were further back in.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I know these cedars here, they're not. I'll give you the raw footage video.
Well, see, I'll show this video and show everything that happened, and then I will show them the picture.
Yeah.
And I'll say, so this is where it happened, and here's the circumstances around it, and here's the picture.
Yep. You can get on this knoll, you know, you got boots and stuff, you can get on that knoll right there. And I fished off of it.
But I can actually just, when this is on a computer, I can blow it up really big and take a closer look via electronics. But not necessarily we have to go out there. But yeah, I like the area.
And was that when we put our pool in, before we set it up, I cleaned it out real good, you know, sprayed it down, brushed it down, the liner and everything before we set it up. Got it all set up, and after you get it set up and get it filled up, you have to do another vacuum. So I did another vacuum, and it's got like 5 rocks about this big around in the pool.
Yeah, day after you cleaned it real good.
Yep. Yeah.
If that's not interesting, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I understand, you know, pros, they can drop rocks and things, and, but it's kind of odd to know that it's 5 rocks in the pool.
Well, it fits the pattern of known Bigfoot behavior. They may have still been trying to hit your house that you don't hear if you've got the air conditioning going.
Right.
And it just missed and hit the pool. That's kind of elongated with some possible toe imprints in there. So you can see heel, toe, looks like maybe a 10-inch print. If that's what it is, but I'm telling you that you never know. But we're just taking note at this point. We're just taking notes of what we see, and tonight, I mean, if something happens tonight, then all of this stuff will make better sense.
Sure.
Say again.
So this rock right here, it picked it up from over there where those rocks are, and put it right here in the middle.
So we know it wasn't gravity because it would have to go up higher to come down.
Yeah.
So was it just a single rock in the middle of the road?
Yeah, just this one right here.
Huh. And you found where it was picked out over there.
Right there.
Interesting. Interesting. So we're getting close to where the Polaris caught fire?
No, actually, that was right there on top of the hill there.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
see ya.
So it was smoking when you guys were running from up back
yeah.
there.
Yeah, oh yeah. It was her that was shaking the tree.
Oh, you think it was her that was shaking the
think
tree,
it was
not
her.
the male?
Well,
But you don't know. You don't know.
I know she was there.
Okay. So this, ladies and gentlemen, was the trail that him and Chuck, when I interviewed Chuck, they were coming through here, and right through there is where he saw the legs. This was much more overgrown, that they were having to duck their heads in their Polaris as they were coming under these branches, and it was the legs walking away back in there. And then when they went on around the bend, that's when the tree was shaking.
Yeah.
So, interesting, interesting. So we're good, I'd say, 1.5 miles from your house? A mile, maybe?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
So we way past the point where the Polaris was engulfed in flames.
Yeah, Yeah, and I'll show you.
So where was the tree laying across? When y'all went to head back out, where was the tree laying across?
That was up there. You know where we went in on the pond right there? Just right on the other side.
Oh, I thought.
The one that was uprooted and laid in?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, that was it.
I thought it was part of this incident with seeing the
Oh,
footprints.
it's the same day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Same day. Just be down in there. Because they could come right up here and just stand here and watch you.
And there's no way to drive down in there?
No.
So it'd all have to be hiked in.
Yeah, and this little road here kind of goes around over there. It's a little trail. But, and I've been down in there. Whenever I was listing the property, I went down in there, took pictures of all this stuff. This thing runs a long ways. And then you go back this way, there's like, right before you get back over the Indian Highway over there, there's like caves and stuff over there. And I've never been brave enough to go over there by myself.
Well,
or having the stamina.
I mean, I really don't think I need to see anything else. I mean, I've already got my places scoped out that I think I'll be comfortable in tonight.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is where we get to the part where my campsite was set up. The area on the trail where they had their encounter, him and Chuck had the encounter with the family of Bigfoots, is where I decided to set up my campsite. So unfortunately, I was starting to get pretty tired. I'd been there 6 days already, and this being the 7th day, I had already made plans that I was going to go ahead and just, for the first night, listen with audio, see what was kind of going on in the peripheral areas around the camp, and just see what's happening on the property as an investigative first night. I did lay out a tarp. You can see there, I was going to use that for my drone if needed. And generally, I just kind of hunkered down, and I may have had an early morning visitor. I can't be sure, but I will play the audios for you. But first, I need to lay out the diagram and describe to you what I heard, and then I will let you hear it yourself. Okay, here's my photograph of the campsite once again. And so I drew a topography view of the campsite. So you can see the drone tarp is the closest to the photograph. The tent, you can see where the tent is on the topograph drawing. Now there's a table close to my tent, and you can see it in the picture on the far side of the tent. It had my clothing on top of the table. That's where I put my recorder parabolic for the night. Now, the interesting thing is, the way I laid up the other tables has a tarp laying on the ground in front of the tables. And the reason I did that is because I was sitting in a chair reading a book, and I had all my small lights on, and I wanted to kick my shoes off. And so whenever I needed to get something off the table, I just wanted to walk on that tarp. I didn't want to walk on the ground, but I did want my shoes off. So I'm sitting there in the dark reading, listening with a parabolic, and just, enjoying camping the way I always do. And I really didn't hear much of anything. Of course, the insects were really loud, and and it was warm. So, I think I may have gotten into the tent knowing that I'd already kind of given up on staying for multiple nights. So I was already through giving it, the 100% effort. So I did want to get some sleep so that I could leave the next morning. So I was in the tent, and I don't know anything that happened. I went to sleep. But upon listening to the recording, it sounded like I did have some type of movement around my camp. There was something messing with the table. Either it was the clothing or the log itself. The log was actually up against some clothing because I had sweaty clothes laying on the table, and I had my bag of clothes, of good clothes, on the table. So that's how that table was set up. You can see where I put clothes and the recorder log on that table there on the topography view. And so I believe something came up and messed, just kind of maybe touched stuff on that table, and then moved on. I'm going to play an audio clip where it sounds like maybe there's foot movement through the grass, possibly, but then there's definitely some movement on the table. And then what I think is the most important audio from this happening is it sounds like something may have made a few steps across the tarp that's laying on the ground. So I don't know if it's the tarp that was laying out there for the drone, or if it was the tarp, the folded tarp laying on the ground in front of the tables. I'm going to assume that it walked just straight across from the clothing table to the other tables, because that's where all of my supplies were. I even had food and stuff up there on the tabletop. So when I hear the footsteps walking across that tarp, I myself have walked on that tarp. So it was kind of puffed up because of the grass that was underneath it. So it made a specific sound of stepping on it, almost like it's floating on the blades of grass, and then just has to, and then when you stepped on it, it has to be pressed down a little bit by a half inch or so, 3/4 of an inch. And so that's what I thought I heard, was something taking 2 or 3 steps across that tarp. So it was around, I don't know, 3 or 4 a.m. And Denny did say that a lot of his activity happens around 3 a.m. So I don't know, you can take it for what it's worth. I do need to go back there. I think it's a great area. I know Denny's telling me the truth. Certainly Chuck is telling me the truth about what happened right there at that location. So I am going to plan a future trip there where I really give it the Boy Scout try. And that is, I would say at least a week. With that location, I would say, I'm going to have to give it 5 or 6 days, maybe a week, with a lot of nighttime walking around, to try to attract an interest in the fact that I'm there. So yeah, let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that scheduling allows for me to get out there. But I'm going to go ahead and let you hear the audio, and I'm going to keep the picture up so that when you hear it, and you can kind of see on the picture itself when you're hearing the noise. This first clip is you're going to hear what could be a very stealthy approach to the table. I mean, you're gonna have to listen closely and maybe turn up the volume. But I'm thinking that I can hear movement through the grass, maybe coming up to the table. This next audio sounds like something maybe starting to mess with stuff on the tabletops, but very gingerly, just very, very subtle movements. And this next audio, again, is just going to be some subtle movements on the tabletop. That's why I thought it was the clothing area, because it almost had a soft movement to it, not anything solid. The other table had more solid items on it, but the table with the log recorder had clothing. So that's why I felt like it was at that table. I could be wrong. And now this final audio has what sounds like a more concrete movement, a more solid movement of something on the tabletop, and then what appears to be the 3 or 4 footsteps across one of the tarps. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's very subtle. Uh, probably was nothing. It probably was a small animal. It just was interesting, in the subtleness, the very slight movements, and I thought it was clearly something on the tabletops, which may not quite fit the pattern of an animal like a raccoon or something who would take the time to get up on a table and then not do much damage. So needless to say, it's interesting. It's a good area. It's definitely worth getting back there and seeing what's going on. But you can see in these pictures, though, that was where I was camping. The first picture shows a large shot of the area, with the red X, and the blue one was actually what I took with my phone when I was at the camp, and did a marker on the Google Earth. So that was my camp spot right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be getting back out there, maybe even take another researcher out there with me. I look forward to giving that property the proper test, the 6 or 7 day test, and really give it the once over and let something take place if there is indeed something going on out there. All right, thank you.